In the eerie silence of space, the rusted gates of the tar prison station clanged shut, sealing the fate of its newest inhabitant, John Carter, an ordinary human caught in extraordinary circumstances. The Tar, a race of fierce alien huntresses, ruled this remote part of the galaxy, and their prison was as unforgiving as their reputation. John, a biologist by training, had ventured too close to a forbidden zone during his research expedition, only to be captured and labeled a spy. As he was led through the dimly lit corridors of the prison, the cold metallic echoes of his chains were a grim reminder of his drastic change in reality. His heart pounded not just with fear but with an overwhelming sense of isolation. Upon entering his cell, he was met with an unexpected sight. Two alien huntresses, creatures of formidable size and fearsome beauty, were already occupants. Their names were Zyra and Laura, and they watched him with curious, glowing eyes. Unlike the typical Tar, these two seemed different. They lacked the usual harshness in their expressions, replaced instead by a cautious intrigue. Zyra, with her scales shimmering under the faint light, moved closer. Her voice, a deep melodic rumble, broke the silence. "Human, why do they bring you to share the fate of the condemned?" John's training as a biologist kicked in, his mind analyzing every detail of her appearance and demeanor. He responded with a calm he didn't feel, "I wondered where I shouldn't have. I mean no harm." Laura, taller and with a scar running down her left eye, circled him. Her movements were fluid, almost cat-like. No harm? Yet here you are, in the belly of despair. What can a fragile human offer in this place of predators? The question hung heavy in the air. John knew he had to establish some common ground to survive. "Knowledge," he replied, his voice steady. "In my world, I studied the living creatures of Earth. Maybe, just maybe, I can understand you too?" This piqued Zyra's interest. "Understand us? Many have tried and failed. What makes you different, John Carter?" He sensed an opportunity to forge a connection. "I listen," he said simply. Over the next few days, John's willingness to listen brought down barriers. He learned of their world and in turn, shared tales of Earth. His stories of vast oceans, diverse wildlife, and complex human emotions seemed to fascinate them. Zyra and Laura, who had only known the harsh life of huntresses competing for survival, found themselves drawn to the humans' vivid descriptions of love, sorrow, and hope. As the days turned into weeks, the dynamics in the cell shifted. The initial hostility cooled into a guarded camaraderie. The huntresses, who were once rivals forced to compete for every resource, began to see John not just as a fellow prisoner, but as someone who brought a new perspective, a glimpse of a world beyond their brutal existence. However, their newfound equilibrium was soon to be tested. Rumors of a tournament spread through the prison, a brutal contest where the winner could earn their freedom. The catch? It was a fight to the death, and John, with his unique human traits, became a target for those seeking an edge. As the day of the tournament approached, Zyra and Laura found themselves facing a dilemma. Protecting John might mean turning against their own kind. But the human had tamed their wild hearts in a way they never anticipated. Now, they must decide whether the bond they had formed with John was worth more than their own survival. Their decision would not only determine John's fate but could also change the very nature of how huntresses viewed solidarity and strength. In the cold, unforgiving confines of the Tar prison, a new alliance was forming, one that was as fragile as it was unexpected. As the tournament loomed closer, the atmosphere within the prison walls grew thicker with tension and anticipation. John, who had initially been a subject of curiosity, now found himself a participant in a deadly game he had no desire to play. Zyra and Laura, seeing the change in their cellmate's demeanor, from a storyteller to a man steeling himself for battle, knew they had to act. Late one night, as the three of them sat in the dim glow of their cell's single light, Zyra broke the uneasy silence. "The tournament is not just a path to freedom. It's a spectacle, a display of strength and savagery. For us, it is normal. For you, it is an end." John looked at the two huntresses, his eyes reflecting a mix of fear and resolve. "I know I don't stand much of a chance. But I don't intend to go down without a fight. If there's any way I can use what I know, to get us out." Laura interrupted, her tone firm yet tinged with affection. "Oh, we fight together. We've been pitted against each other our whole lives, but you've shown us something invaluable, that there's strength in unity, in shared burdens. We won't let you face this alone." Their plan was simple yet daring. John would leverage his knowledge of biology to predict the behavior of their opponents, while Zyra and Laura would use their combat skills to protect him and exploit the weaknesses he identified. It was an unconventional strategy, but it was all they had. Training began under the veil of night. Zyra taught John the basics of tar combat techniques, movements that were fluid and powerful, designed to incapacitate quickly. Laura, meanwhile, focused on helping him understand their opponent's psychological tactics, predicting how they would move and react. As they trained, John noticed a change in the Huntresses. The rivalry that had once defined their relationship was fading, replaced by a camaraderie that mirrored the familial bonds he knew on Earth. It was during these moments of quiet companionship after their rigorous sessions that John realized how deeply he had affected them. One evening, as they rested against the cool metal walls, Zyra shared a piece of her history. "Before you came, all I knew was competition, the constant struggle to be the strongest, the fiercest. Laura was nothing more to me than a rival. You've taught us about your Earth, about cooperation and emotions that go beyond survival." Laura nodded in agreement, her voice softening. "And you've listened to our stories, our fears. You haven't just shared your world. You've become a part of ours." The bond they had formed was no longer just about survival. It was about transformation. They were no longer just inmates sharing a cell. They were allies, each fighting not just for individual freedom but for something greater, a mutual understanding and respect that transcended the walls of their confinement. As the day of the tournament arrived, John and the Huntresses walked into the arena not as isolated fighters, but as a united front. Their strategy was untested, their alliance new, but their resolve was as solid as the steel bars of their cell. The first opponent stepped into the arena, a towering figure known for his ruthless efficiency. The crowd roared with anticipation, their cheers echoing off the stark metal walls. John felt the fear rise, but as he glanced at Zyra and Laura, standing strong by his side, he knew they were ready. Whatever the outcome, they had already achieved something remarkable. They faced the opponent as a team, each move choreographed through nights of planning and practice. John's role was crucial, directing the Huntresses with signals they had developed, using his understanding of the opponent's behavior to guide their attacks. The fight was brutal and swift, and against all odds, they emerged victorious. The crowd fell silent, stunned by the display of unity and strategy. As John and the Huntresses returned to their cell, they knew they had not just survived another day. They had set the stage for a revolution in the way the Tar viewed strength and alliance. In their bond, they had kindled a spark of change, a beacon that promised to illuminate even the darkest corners of the galaxy. As the whispers of their unprecedented victory spread like wildfire through the corridors of Tar Prison Station, John, Zyra, and Laura found themselves at the center of a shifting paradigm. Their success had not only challenged the traditional views of strength and combat but had also ignited a spark of rebellion among the prisoners. The once solitary fighters began to see the value in the unity that the human and his Huntress allies exemplified. With their newfound influence, the trio strategized to leverage their position. They initiated clandestine meetings under the guise of training sessions, sharing their knowledge and tactics with other inmates. The prison, a place once marked by isolation and mistrust, slowly transformed into a crucible for collaboration. Meanwhile, the prison's overseers grew wary of the changing dynamics. Commander Zorak, a figure both feared and respected among the Tar, observed the growing camaraderie with suspicion. Known for his ruthless control, Zorak called John to his office, a room that reeked of authority and menace. "Human, your little stunt in the arena has not gone unnoticed," Zorak hissed, his voice a serrated whisper. "What are you playing at? This is not a nursery for friendships, it's a pit for the galaxy's refuse." John met Zorak's gaze with a calm defiance. "It's about survival, Commander. But not survival through dominance, through understanding. We're stronger when we're united. Maybe there's something here for you to learn as well." Zorak's eyes narrowed, a dangerous glint flashing within. Don't presume to teach me, prisoner. You do well to remember your place. After the meeting, John returned to his cellmates, his resolve hardened. We need to accelerate our plans. Zorak's onto us. It's only a matter of time before he tries to crush this movement. The trio expanded their efforts, teaching others not just how to fight, but how to trust. This was no easy task in an environment bred for competition and betrayal, yet the seed of unity that John had planted began to take root. As the next tournament approached, the inmates were no longer a collection of individual contenders but a cohesive force. The battles were fierce, but the strategies born of newfound alliances proved effective, unsettling the established order once more. Victory by victory, the prisoners were not just winning their fights, they were winning their right to redefine strength. One night, as John and his allies gathered to celebrate their latest victory, an unexpected alarm blared through the station. The doors of the cells clanged open. The prison was under attack. Not from within, but from an external force. A rival faction saw the unrest in the prison as an opportunity to strike, to overthrow Commander Zorak and claim the station for themselves. The chaos that ensued was unlike anything the prison had seen. Amidst the turmoil, John, Zyra, and Laura faced a critical decision. They could use this moment to attempt an escape, or they could stand and defend the station that had become their unlikely home. Choosing to protect what they had built, they rallied the inmates. "We can fight them," John shouted over the roar of explosions and gunfire. Not to keep things the way they are, but to fight for the chance to change everything. To build something better here. The battle was grueling, pushing each of them to their limits. John's knowledge of alien physiology, combined with Zyra and Laura's combat skills, created a formidable front. They moved through the station, a force united by a common cause, repelling the invaders with a fierce determination. As dawn broke over the station, the attackers were repelled, and an eerie calm settled. Commander Zorak, witnessing the unity and bravery of the prisoners, found his authority challenged not just by external foes but by the very individuals he sought to subjugate. In the aftermath, Zorak approached John and the Huntresses, a grudging respect etched into his weathered features. "You've shown that there is power in unity. Perhaps there is room for change." The trio stood together, battered but unbroken. They had defended their prison, not just their cell, and in doing so, they had laid the groundwork for a new order. An order based not on the supremacy of the strongest but on the strength of the collective. And as the sun illuminated the scars of battle, it also cast light on the possibilities of a new beginning. The aftermath of the battle left the prison in a state of uneasy calm. The corridors, once simply passageways lined with the echoes of desolation, now buzzed with the energy of change. The prisoners, having tasted collective strength, were no longer content to revert to the old ways. They sought a new structure, one where the ideas of unity and mutual support weren't just survival strategies but foundational principles for their continued coexistence. In the center of this transformation were John, Zyra, and Laura, who found themselves leaders not by ambition but by necessity. They convened a council, composed of representatives from each sector of the prison. The discussions were heated, each participant bearing the weight of years of mistrust and rivalry. Yet, under the guidance of the trio, the council slowly began to outline the framework of a new governance. During these sessions, John introduced concepts foreign to the Tar way of thinking: democracy, representation, and justice. "These aren't just ideals from my world," he explained passionately. "They are systems that can help us govern ourselves fairly, where every voice has a right to be heard and no one is left behind." Zyra, adapting quickly to these new ideas, took on the role of mediator. Her innate understanding of her people's instincts and desires made her an invaluable bridge between the old ways and the new possibilities. Laura, with her strategic mind, focused on the security of the station, devising plans to defend their newfound autonomy against future threats. As the new system took shape, the prisoners worked to repair the damage not only to their facility but to their spirits. They transformed their cells from places of isolation into shared spaces where ideas and stories were exchanged freely. Workshops were established, teaching not just combat and survival, but also skills that would nurture their community: engineering, medicine, and sciences. Commander Zorak, seeing the irreversible shift in power, struggled to find his place within the new order. His once unquestioned authority was now challenged at every turn. However, seeing the genuine improvements in the morale and productivity of the prison, he began to understand the potential benefits of this transformation. Reluctantly, he engaged with the council, offering his experience and knowledge as a resource rather than as a dictum. Amidst these sweeping changes, the threat of external attacks remained ever-present. The previous assault had shown the vulnerability of the station and the potential for it to be a target. Laura, foreseeing the necessity for robust defenses, initiated training programs where John's insights into alien behavior and psychology were blended with Zyra's combat training to form a formidable defense force. One evening, as the trio reviewed the security protocols, an alert sounded throughout the station. A ship had approached, unidentified but broadcasting a signal of parley. The council convened, and with bated breath, they allowed the ship to dock. The visitors were diplomats from a neighboring system, intrigued by rumors of the prison's transformation. They came bearing offers of support and trade, curious to see if the stories of a prison turned into a bastion of reform were true. John, Zyra, and Laura represented their community, explaining the changes and their vision for the future. The diplomats, impressed by the sincerity and the radical shift, agreed to establish a line of communication and support, marking the station's first official recognition by external entities. This acknowledgement was a monumental step for the prison community, symbolizing not just their internal reformation but also their emergence as a recognized entity in the galactic arena. With external alliances forming and internal reforms solidifying, the station was no longer just a warehouse of the condemned but a beacon of hope and change. As the station's lights dimmed for the night cycle, John stood beside Zyra and Laura, looking out at the stars. The path ahead was fraught with challenges, but for the first time since his imprisonment, John felt a profound connection to this alien world. Together, they had turned adversity into opportunity, forging a future that once seemed as distant as the stars now twinkling quietly above them. The diplomatic recognition marked a turning point for Tar Station, transforming it from an obscure penal colony into a burgeoning community with interstellar connections. With the establishment of trade and communication lines, resources flowed into the station, not just necessities but also luxuries and educational materials. The inhabitants, once resigned to a bleak existence, now engaged eagerly with opportunities for learning and growth. John, Zyra, and Laura continued to lead the community, their roles evolving as the needs of the station changed. John took a particular interest in the educational programs, setting up classes that ranged from basic literacy to advanced science, drawing on his background as a biologist to inspire a sense of wonder and curiosity about the universe. Zyra, on the other hand, focused on diplomacy and external relations. Her natural charisma and newfound understanding of political strategy made her an ideal spokesperson for the station. She navigated the complex interstellar politics with a finesse that belied her warrior roots, turning potential rivals into allies with her straightforward and honest approach. Laura dedicated herself to overseeing the station's defenses, ensuring that their home remained safe from any threats. Her meticulous planning and strategic foresight transformed the station's ragtag defensive measures into a well-oiled machine capable of protecting its residents. Under her guidance, the inhabitants learned not just to defend themselves but also to operate the advanced technology brought by their new allies. As the station grew, so did its cultural diversity. New arrivals brought with them their own customs and traditions, enriching the social fabric of the community. The once stark and sterile prison corridors blossomed with color and life, murals depicting scenes from different worlds adorning the walls, and public spaces filled with the music and laughter of a myriad of alien races. However, the rapid growth also brought challenges. Disputes arose as old prejudices and misunderstandings clashed with the ideals of their new society. John found himself mediating conflicts more often, using his deep empathy and understanding to help others see beyond their differences. During one such mediation session, a heated dispute between two rival factions threatened to escalate into violence. John, along with Zyra and Laura, intervened, inviting the leaders of both factions to a roundtable discussion. The session lasted hours, with John carefully guiding the conversation not towards compromise but towards mutual understanding and respect. Conflict is inevitable, he explained, but it's how we handle it that defines us. We have a unique opportunity to create something better here, a community where everyone feels heard and valued. The factions eventually reached an agreement, not just to cease hostilities but to collaborate on a joint project, a symbol of their new partnership. They chose to construct a garden, a place of peace and beauty that would serve as a reminder of their commitment to coexistence. The garden became a central feature of the station, a place where anyone could find tranquility and a sense of belonging. It was here that John, Zyra, and Laura often met, reflecting on their journey and planning for the future. One such evening, as they walked among the vibrant flora, Zyra turned to John. "Do you ever think about going back to Earth?" she asked, her voice tinged with a mix of curiosity and fear of losing a valued friend. John paused, looking up at the stars. "I think about it sometimes," he admitted. "But my work, my friends, my purpose, they're all here now. We've built something extraordinary together, and I want to see how far we can go." Laura joined in, her hand resting on John's shoulder. "We started as inmates in a prison and now look at us. We're builders of a new world." Together, they continued their walk, their path illuminated by the bioluminescent glow of the garden's plants. The station, once a place of confinement and despair, had blossomed under their guidance into a beacon of hope, a testament to the power of unity and the unyielding spirit of those who dared to reimagine their destiny. As Tar Station continued to evolve, the complexities of managing a burgeoning society became apparent. The influx of new technologies and ideas, while mostly beneficial, occasionally sowed discord among the community members who feared the rapid changes. This unease was particularly palpable among the older Tar inhabitants, who struggled to reconcile their traditional ways with the progressive new societal norms. During one particularly tense week, a series of system malfunctions occurred, disrupting daily life across the station. Power outages and water supply issues led to widespread discomfort and heightened the existing tensions. Rumors began to circulate that the malfunctions were sabotage, orchestrated by those resistant to change. John, keenly aware of the rising discontent, proposed the formation of a technology integration committee, tasked with overseeing the implementation of new systems and educating the station's residents about the benefits and operation of the technologies. He enlisted the help of a talented young engineer, Mira, whose innovative spirit and ability to communicate complex ideas in simple terms made her an ideal candidate for the role. Meanwhile, Zyra engaged with the community elders, seeking their counsel and involvement in the decision-making processes. Her efforts were aimed at bridging the generational divide, ensuring that the wisdom of the past was not lost amid the innovations of the present. Together with the elders, she organized a series of dialogues, blending traditional Tar storytelling with discussions on technological advancements. Laura focused on security, concerned that the alleged sabotage could escalate into more serious conflicts. She worked closely with the station's security team to enhance surveillance and implement more stringent safety protocols. Her proactive approach helped to reassure the community, restoring a sense of safety and order. As the committee began its work, Mira discovered the cause of the malfunctions, a deprecated software protocol that had become unstable with the recent upgrades. The revelation quelled the rumors of sabotage, replacing fear with a collective relief that the issues were technical rather than malicious. With the immediate crisis resolved, the station's leadership turned their attention to a long-standing issue that had been overshadowed by more urgent matters: the establishment of a permanent governance structure. A council was elected, with representatives from each sector of the station's populace. John, Zyra, and Laura were all elected, not just for their roles in founding the new society but for their ongoing commitment to its welfare. The first task of the new council was to draft a constitution, a set of guiding principles that would define the governance and legal framework of the station. The process was exhaustive, with heated debates and numerous revisions. John's background in democratic systems on Earth provided a foundational perspective, but he was careful to ensure that the final document was a true reflection of the diverse community's values and needs, not merely an import of terrestrial ideas. Upon the completion of the Constitution, a ceremony was held in the central hub of the station, attended by all residents. Zyra delivered the keynote address, her speech a powerful reminder of their shared journey from isolation to unity. We have transformed this station from a prison to a sanctuary, a place of despair to a beacon of hope. Today, with the establishment of our Constitution, we pledge to uphold the values of fairness, respect, and cooperation. Let this document be the bedrock upon which we build our future, a testament to what we can achieve when we stand together. The ceremony concluded with a communal meal, a tradition borrowed from one of the alien cultures on the station, symbolizing harmony and community. As they shared dishes from various worlds, the residents of Tar Station celebrated not just the resolution of their immediate challenges but the enduring strength of their collective spirit. In the weeks that followed, the station flourished under the new governance system, with fewer conflicts and an increased focus on expansion and exploration. John, Zyra, and Laura, once wary of their uncertain fates, now looked to the future with a shared vision of hope and determination, leading their community into a new era of prosperity and peace. As the rhythms of daily life on Tar Station settled into a harmonious balance between tradition and innovation, a deeper challenge began to surface, rooted not in the tangible machinations of governance or technology, but in the nuanced complexities of cultural integration. The station, a vibrant mosaic of interstellar cultures, faced the delicate task of blending vastly different customs and beliefs into a cohesive society. In the heart of this cultural tapestry, an unexpected issue arose concerning the educational programs spearheaded by John. A group of residents from a recently allied planet expressed concerns about the scientific curriculum, which contradicted some of their deeply held spiritual beliefs. The dispute threatened to create a schism within the educational sector, which had become a cornerstone of the station's community development. John approached the issue with a diplomat's tact and a scholar's curiosity. He proposed a series of intercultural forums, designed not only to address the immediate conflict but to foster a broader understanding among the station's diverse inhabitants. These forums became a platform for open dialogue, where scientific principles were discussed alongside spiritual beliefs, each presented as a vital part of the station's collective knowledge base. Zyra took on the challenge of mediating these discussions, her experience in conflict resolution proving invaluable. Her ability to navigate the delicate interplay of logic and belief helped maintain a respectful atmosphere, where participants felt heard and valued. This approach not only diffused the potential conflict but also enriched the station's cultural depth, as residents began to appreciate the complexities of each other's worldviews. Meanwhile, Laura detected a rise in security incidents, subtle yet worrying. Small thefts and vandalism, previously rare on the station, hinted at underlying tensions. Concerned that these minor crimes could escalate or indicate a deeper unrest, she initiated a comprehensive review of the station's security protocols. This review led to the implementation of a community watch program, which paired residents from different backgrounds, fostering stronger interpersonal bonds and a shared responsibility for maintaining the peace. This period also saw the development of the station's first off-world exploration team, an ambitious project that aimed to extend the community's reach beyond the confines of the station. The team, led by an eager young pilot named Ilara, included specialists from various scientific disciplines as well as diplomats trained by Zyra. Their mission was to establish contact with unaligned civilizations and to explore uninhabited systems for potential resources and research opportunities. The launch of the exploration vessel, named the Seeker, was a milestone event for the station. John delivered a moving speech as the vessel prepared to depart, highlighting the importance of curiosity and courage in the pursuit of knowledge and understanding. Today, we reach out into the cosmos not as conquerors, but as learners eager to understand more of the universe and our place within it, he declared, echoing the principles that had come to define their community. Back on the station, as the Seeker ventured into the unknown, the cultural forums initiated by John evolved into a permanent institution known as the Cultural Synthesis Center. This center offered continuous programs and workshops that explored the intersections of science, philosophy, and spirituality, helping to prevent the kind of misunderstandings that had initially sparked the educational dispute. The integration of these programs into the daily life of the station helped to mitigate the small-scale security issues Laura had identified. As residents engaged more deeply with each other's cultures and histories, the incidence of theft and vandalism decreased, replaced by a growing sense of mutual respect and shared purpose. As the station's leaders, John, Zyra, and Laura watched these developments with a mixture of pride and relief. The challenges they faced were complex and often daunting, but each solution brought the community closer together, weaving a stronger, more resilient societal fabric. In this environment of shared growth and expanded horizons, Tar Station emerged not just as a refuge from the past, but as a beacon of future possibilities, a testament to the power of diversity and cooperation. As Tar Station continued to thrive under its new governance and the blossoming of its cultural and educational programs, the leadership faced an emerging challenge from within their own ranks. Among the council members, a faction led by a charismatic but contentious figure, Taller, began to voice dissent over the station's direction. Taller argued that the expansion into off-world exploration and the increasing focus on external alliances were diverting resources and attention from internal development and security. This dissent sowed seeds of discord among some segments of the population, who felt that the rapid expansion and outreach might indeed be leaving the station's original inhabitants feeling overlooked or marginalized. Taller's articulate speeches and persuasive rhetoric resonated with those who harbored fears about the station's new trajectory, drawing a line between the pioneers of the station's rebirth and those who came after. John, ever the mediator, sought to address these concerns through increased transparency and inclusive decision-making. He organized a series of public forums, inviting Taller and his supporters to voice their concerns and participate in open debates. These forums were broadcast throughout the station, allowing all residents to engage with the issues at hand. Zyra, meanwhile, sensed that the discontent might have deeper roots, potentially influenced by external forces interested in destabilizing the station. She discreetly initiated a series of investigations, utilizing her network of contacts to trace any connections between Taller's faction and known agitators or rival factions outside the station. Laura increased her surveillance on key areas around the station, particularly focusing on the communication hubs and meeting places of Taller's group. Her efforts revealed a pattern of unauthorized communications with an unregistered vessel that had been lingering at the edge of the station's sensor range. This discovery raised alarms about the possibility of external collusion, complicating the internal political landscape. Amid these tensions, the Seeker returned from its maiden voyage, bringing not only a wealth of scientific data and potential new alliances but also news of a significant discovery, an uninhabited planet rich in resources within a sector previously thought to be barren. Ilara, the mission's commander, proposed an ambitious plan to establish a forward operating base on the planet, arguing it could serve as a new hub for further exploration and a testament to the station's growing capabilities. The proposal, however, gave Taller and his faction a new platform for their dissent. They argued that such a venture was too risky and resource-intensive, proposing instead that the newfound resources be used to bolster the station's infrastructure and defenses. The debate over this issue dominated the council's sessions, with the community deeply divided on the best path forward. To provide a balanced perspective, John suggested sending a scouting team to the planet to assess its viability and risks in person. He nominated a diverse team of scientists, security personnel, and diplomats, including members of both his and Taller's factions. This decision was met with cautious approval, as it seemed to offer a way forward that would allow for informed decision-making based on first-hand observations rather than speculative debate. As preparations for the scouting mission began, Zyra's investigations bore fruit. She uncovered evidence that Taller's communications were indeed linked to a rival mining consortium that sought to exploit the station's discoveries for its own gains. Confronted with this evidence, Taller's position was weakened, and the factional lines began to blur as his followers re-evaluated their allegiances. With the station now at a critical juncture, John, Zyra, and Laura faced the challenge of navigating these complex political waters while maintaining the unity and vision that had transformed Tar Station from a penal colony into a beacon of interspecies cooperation and innovation. Their leadership, tested by both external threats and internal strife, would determine the future trajectory of not only their community but potentially that of the entire sector. As the station buzzed with the preparations for the scouting mission to the newly discovered planet, John took the opportunity to address the underlying tensions head-on. He organized a crucial meeting, inviting not only Taller and his remaining supporters but also the broader community to discuss the implications of the evidence Zyra had uncovered. The gathering was tense, charged with the anticipation of confrontations yet held in check by the community's deep respect for the forum's purpose, to seek truth and reconciliation. John opened the session with a reminder of their common goals and achievements, emphasizing the importance of transparency and trust. "We stand at a crossroads," he stated, his voice firm yet open. "The decisions we make today will shape the future of this station and possibly that of other civilizations we may encounter. Let us choose a path that strengthens, not divides." Taller, feeling the pressure of the gathered eyes and the weight of the evidence against him, stepped forward. His usual eloquence was tempered by a hint of defensiveness as he addressed the assembly. "My actions were driven by a genuine concern for our community's welfare," he began, his tone earnest. "However, I acknowledge that my methods may have been misguided, influenced unduly by external promises that clouded my judgment." The confession, though not entirely absolving, opened the door for a deeper dialogue. Zyra facilitated the discussion, guiding the conversation towards constructive outcomes rather than recriminations. She proposed the integration of Taller's group into the planning committees for the station's defense and infrastructure, ensuring that their concerns were addressed and their voices heard in a structured, positive manner. Meanwhile, Laura presented the security measures and findings from her investigations, outlining how future oversight and communication protocols could be strengthened to prevent similar issues. Her comprehensive review reassured the community of their collective safety and the integrity of their operations. As the station worked through these internal challenges, the scouting team embarked on their mission to the new planet, codenamed Haven. The team, a mix of scientists and security personnel led by Alara, approached their task with a blend of scientific curiosity and cautious optimism. The initial reports were promising. Haven was rich in resources and potentially habitable, a rare combination that could indeed serve as a new frontier for their expanding community. Back on the station, John used the positive momentum from Haven's early assessments to further unify the community. He initiated a series of educational and cultural exchanges designed to integrate the diverse populations more fully, using the excitement about Haven as a common point of interest and potential future project. These programs were met with enthusiastic participation, fostering a sense of shared destiny. The success of these initiatives culminated in a community-wide event celebrating the return of the scouting team. The event showcased detailed reports and stunning visuals from Haven, sparking discussions and dreams about the possibilities of establishing a sister settlement there. The event also served as a public affirmation of the station's renewed unity and purpose, demonstrating how collective challenges could lead to collective victories. As the station moved forward, the bonds between its members, tested by adversity, had grown only stronger. The leadership of John, Zyra, and Laura, once questioned by some, was now solidified by their balanced and inclusive approach to governance. The community, once merely a collection of individuals bound by circumstance, had transformed into a dynamic and interconnected society, poised to expand its influence and ideals into new worlds. With Haven on the horizon and the lessons learned from their recent challenges, Tar Station looked to the future with a renewed sense of purpose and optimism, ready to take its place as a leader in a new era of interstellar exploration and cooperation. The momentum at Tar Station reached new heights as the community began to envision their expansion to Haven. With the successful return of the scouting team, detailed plans for colonization were laid out. These plans not only aimed at establishing a sustainable outpost but also at creating a model for future interstellar settlements that would reflect the principles and values honed on the station. In preparation for the establishment of Haven, John spearheaded the formation of the Haven Pioneer Program, a meticulously organized initiative inviting volunteers from across the station's diverse populace. The program was designed to ensure that the new settlement would be a true reflection of Tar Station's multicultural, cooperative ethos. It included intensive training sessions covering everything from ecological management and resource utilization to cultural sensitivity and governance. Zyra, using her diplomatic skills, negotiated with neighboring systems to secure support and protection for Haven. Her efforts were crucial in forging a network of alliances that promised to safeguard the new settlement and foster peaceful relations. These alliances were celebrated on the station with a series of intergalactic cultural fairs, where delegates from different worlds showcased their customs, cuisine, and technology, strengthening the bonds between the station and its allies. Meanwhile, Laura developed a comprehensive security plan for Haven, incorporating advanced surveillance systems and defensive technologies that would ensure the safety of the pioneers without compromising the settlement's open and inclusive character. She also trained a select group of security personnel from among the volunteers, equipping them with the skills needed to handle both internal security and potential external threats. As the launch date for the first wave of pioneers approached, the station was abuzz with activities and farewells. A grand send-off ceremony was organized, featuring speeches from John, Zyra, and Laura, as well as cultural performances that highlighted the unity and creativity of the station's community. John's speech, in particular, resonated deeply with the attendees. "Today, we are not just launching a mission to another planet," he said, his voice imbued with emotion. "We are sending a message across the stars. A message of hope, unity, and the indomitable spirit of cooperation." The launch itself was a spectacle of light and hope, watched by the entire station's population. As the spacecraft carrying the first pioneers disappeared into the starlit sky, there was a palpable sense of accomplishment mixed with anticipation for the future. Back on Tar Station, life continued to flourish. The success of the Haven mission inspired further developments in science, technology, and the arts. The station itself underwent a series of upgrades and expansions, accommodating its growing role as a hub of interstellar diplomacy and trade. Months later, the first reports from Haven began to arrive. The pioneers had successfully landed and were making remarkable progress in establishing the new settlement. Images of a new world taking shape under alien suns filled the screens of Tar Station, sparking excitement and pride in the hearts of all who watched. As years passed, Haven grew from a fledgling outpost into a thriving colony, a testament to the vision and efforts of the Tar Station community. The success of Haven led to the planning of further missions, expanding the reach of their civilization into new territories and fostering a network of human and alien communities united by shared ideals. John, Zyra, and Laura, now revered as the founders of the new interstellar era, continued to lead and inspire. Their legacy, rooted in the transformation of a once-isolated prison station into a beacon of multicultural cooperation, was a message that echoed across the galaxies, inspiring countless other worlds to look beyond their differences and towards a shared future. In the peace and unity of this expanding community, Tar Station remained a symbol of what could be achieved when diverse beings unite with a common purpose, forever a beacon in the vastness of space, guiding the way toward a brighter, boundless horizon.